Hey everyone, before we start this week's episode, I just wanted to insert this quick note about the audio quality. Unfortunately, when setting up our equipment, I accidentally forgot to switch the recording to use the microphone that we regularly use for our podcast, and instead it recorded via the built-in microphone on our PC. You may recall we've had issues with like beeping noises in the past, and I've had to work around some things to get it to work correctly going forward with our episodes, and it hasn't been a problem for a few episodes now, thankfully. But it does mean that I have to kind of finagle with some stuff each week, and this week I forgot to switch the microphone back. So Ravenheart in particular can be a little challenging to hear and understand at times, but hopefully you can still enjoy the episode. Welcome to episode 36 of the Bit Beacon broadcast. It's May 28th, 2024. Kodax is here.
Ravenheart, we're back.
Let's jump into what we've been playing. What have we been buying? Anything new for you?
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon
That's
Go.
all I got to report.
All right.
But I'm on the last page of the Masterwork research.
Me
now.
too.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Caught up. Cool. Catch 75 Pokemon in one day.
Easy.
Yeah, I got like 250 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it's catch 500 total.
Yep.
And then there was.
There's like spin a Pokestop 7 days in a row.
Yeah, there's
catch a
two of those
Pokemon
types.
7 days.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't think it's in a row. It's just seven different
days,
days. Yeah. Thankfully, it's not like gonna reset if you miss one. Yeah.
That drives me nuts.
Yeah. And then I think there's 50 excellent throws.
That's right.
Is,
That's not that bad.
Not biggie.
Last night I set a new record.
A new record.
6 shinies.
Wow.
Yeah, in one exploration.
Wow. All right, we'll list them out.
Okay. So 3 of them were actually like needed and useful, and then the other 3 are
whatever.
Yeah. So I got Tentacool, which I needed a shiny Tentacool, so that works. Ekans, and I did need a shiny Arbok.
I saw you put Arbok in the gym near work.
Yeah. It looks so cool, black and gold.
Yeah, I like it.
Then Palladian Wooper.
Okay.
That's one of the ones I don't necessarily...
Palladian?
Paldean.
Okay, there we go.
You know what I mean. I think I have 16 of those already, so that could have been a Durant.
Okay, gotcha. Wow, you have a lot of Woopers.
Yeah. And then another Caterpie, which I needed because Butterfree has the 2 genders.
Oh, okay.
And then I don't have a shiny Metapod, so I evolved like 2 of my Caterpie into Butterfree for the gender difference. So I needed 1 more, so I'm good.
Okay.
And then, so that's 4. Oh, Coughing and Ghastly.
Okay, you probably got dozens of those guys.
Coughing, actually, this is my first extra.
Okay.
Ghastly, yeah. Easily like 16 of those already.
I got a couple shinies lately, not nearly as many as you.
Mm-hmm.
But my 2 most recent shinies are both snakes.
Okay.
I got Seviper and Ekans.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So it was cool to see. I was shocked when I got Ekans.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, I didn't think I'd ever see that one here, but
yeah, I had just transferred one through Let's Go, and then I got another one.
Yeah.
So I just evolved it
right on the spot.
Yeah. Usually I won't do that.
Uh-huh.
I'll transfer everything and then evolve it in Let's Go.
Okay.
If I know I need like the Pokedex entries for like the whole family.
Okay.
But with that, I knew I had it.
Right.
And so I just did it. Yeah. It drives me nuts when I get shiny Galarian Gen 1 Pokemon, because I should be able to transfer it through Let's Go, but I can't. You
can't?
No.
Oh, no, Galarian ones, that's right.
So like Farfetch.
Only the Alolan ones,
right.
Yeah.
Galarian Farfetch.
It would be cool if they like continued to like
update and like do maintenance on the
like
older
the
games.
older games.
Yeah.
Like give them some life, you know.
Like, wouldn't that be cool if like Sword and Shield you could transfer like Paldean Pokemon to it?
Yeah, it'd be cool if you could transfer all the way back to like Ruby and Sapphire on Game Boy Advance. Like they could do that, but they don't.
They've moved on.
Yeah.
You know, the games don't sell like they used to, but whatever.
I mean, it would be a really cool thing, but yeah, if it comes down to sales,
I think we're gonna have to make a new segment called like Pokemon Go Minute.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's getting to that point.
Yeah.
So that's all I've been playing. I really haven't been super inspired. I'm waiting on Hades. I think I'm getting it on the 30th. I should have it in my hand.
Where did you order it from?
Amazon. But I don't subscribe to Prime at all.
Okay, was it like back ordered or something maybe? Because even then, I wouldn't think it would take.
My email said the 30th.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm good at waiting.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You're a patient man.
Very, very patient.
You did some traveling.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I came back from Tijuana again.
Nice. So. You're showing me pictures of some cute ice cream shop.
Yep. I mean, I didn't do really when we go to Tijuana, it's just for errands.
Right.
You know. And so we stayed one night.
Oh yeah. Next time you guys go, let me know because I might need you to pick me up some stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. Some medications.
Oh yeah.
You can get them real cheap down there.
You really can.
Yeah.
So yeah, did that, but I have been buying some stuff.
Oh, all right.
And I'm prepared to talk about that a little bit.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm gonna have more information probably next episode because I still am going through it all.
Did you get stuff down?
No, I bought up a bunch of lots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of people's video game lots.
Okay, I like buying lots.
Yeah.
Especially like foreign language
That's
lots.
My favorite way to buy games. So I bought like 3 boxes full of stuff.
Okay.
I think
online?
No. Well, using like apps.
Okay. Like local.
Nextdoor and what's the other one that everyone uses?
Facebook Marketplace?
Not that one. I'm not on that one, but
OfferUp?
Yeah, that's it.
OfferUp. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm still going through the games. There is a lot of shovelware and there is a lot of sports games.
All right, but what about the gems?
These are quantity purchases.
Okay.
I just grabbed a handful. I'll bring a full-blown list next week if you want. But I just grabbed this handful.
Okay.
Just as examples of what I'm getting. So here's Assassin's Creed 3.
Assassin's Creed 3 GameStop edition.
Yeah.
Free mission and weapon is the code. Oh, the code is. There it is.
The conditions are going to vary for all this stuff.
This is Xbox 360.
Yes. Here is Medal of Honor Warfighter Limited Edition Xbox 360.
It includes a Battlefield 4 beta code.
Yep. This is Plants vs. Zombies and Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, both on 360.
This is a Platinum Hits version of Plants vs. Zombies.
Yep.
And then, this was before PopCap was bought out by EA.
Yeah.
But then Garden Warfare's got that EA logo.
Rick Davidson, one of my favorite game designers.
Okay.
Yeah. Call of Duty World of War. I grabbed that code.
It's a classic Call of Duty, you know.
Here's Soul Calibur 4. I don't know if that's the original case or not.
It doesn't look like it.
Yeah. And then
the Platinum Hits came in
like a
Platinum
silver
box.
Right.
What I would do is I'd probably switch the Soul Calibur one with the Plants vs. Zombies box.
Or I'd just grab some super cheap at Book Off or something.
Yeah.
And then there's Big
Brain Academy.
Yeah.
Wii Degree.
So I have a whole box of Wii games.
Okay.
That I don't know. I set all my other boxes on top of those boxes, and then I have another box full of accessories.
Oh, okay.
So it's got all kinds of like the Wii Blaster, Wii. I think multiple of those.
Mm-hmm.
The Wii steering wheel, the charging cradles for the Wii remotes, some third-party junk, which is cool. I'm interested in all that stuff. This is quantity purchases.
Okay.
I don't have anything. Like, other than this kind of stuff, this is probably the most prestigious stuff I have.
Right.
The rest is
how much are these lots you're picking up?
I spent a total of like 180.
Okay.
Right now. And I have boxes at home.
Oh, wow. Okay. Gotcha.
So. And then I'm picking up another lot on Friday. And that one includes an Xbox One.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So.
All right. Cool.
Moving on up.
That's how you fill out a collection.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's the only way.
Boom. You just like added 100 titles to your collection.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter what they are.
Right.
And in that case. But yeah, if you're just buying titles one at a time, you're never gonna do that for like all these sports games and all the shovelware stuff.
Yeah, these are a great way to like pick up a lot of the cheap, $3 games. Because if you're buying $3 games individually, then you're also paying $5 shipping on all of them. Like so then those cheap games get real expensive.
Right.
So if you're buying a lot like this, you just kind of flesh that out immediately.
I love everything about the process of just buying lots.
Yeah.
You get to explore a new part of your neighborhood you've never seen before.
Meet someone.
Hand someone cash. You could talk them down $10,
Right. And, like, you never know if they have anything else.
Right.
And that's when you ask them, like, hey, you got anything else? Got anything, like, better than this? Got any consoles?
When I meet these people, I just tell them, look, just message me straight.
Yeah.
Like, don't bother, like, enact the labor of posting your stuff. Like, just send me the pics and I'll come with cash.
Okay.
And then I'll tell them, hey, I don't need the monitor and the keyboard. You can keep that. But yeah, so I'm picking up a Xbox 360 and one more whole box of Wii games on Friday.
All right.
So that should be good. And then I'm waiting on Hades. That's what I'm actually going to be playing.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. What about you?
Haven't really bought anything.
Okay.
Well, I have made a couple purchases, but I'll talk about them when they get here. Some like cheap used kind of purchases or like older games that I kind of want to go back to.
Cool.
So I've been playing Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Okay.
I talked about it a bit last week and kind of my, gripes with some of the older games. But overall, I did enjoy it. I did beat it, the main campaign.
Cool.
There's still like side activities and stuff I might go back to, and there's also a DLC kind of story that's set 20 years later, dealing with Jack the Ripper. So I haven't started that yet, but that is like the thing I'll be probably playing this next week or so.
Cool.
I am inspired to now like go back to some of the other older Assassin's Creed games that I kind of missed out on. It reminds me when Assassin's Creed 4, the Black Flag, that's like the pirate one,
you're sailing a lot now, right?
That was like a launch title for the PS4. On the same day they released a new Assassin's Creed game for PS3 called Assassin's Creed Rogue, where you're actually playing from the perspective of like a former assassin turned Templar. So like you're kind of playing as the villains, I guess you could say.
Right.
And I remember I bought it on PS3 and I played a little bit of it, but I never finished it and never went back to it. And so they remastered it at some point, or not remastered, they ported it to PS4 at some point. And so I did pick up I don't know if it was used or just like a cheap PS4 copy on eBay, and so it should be here later this week.
Cool.
So I don't know if I'll take a break because I don't want to totally burn myself out on Assassin's Creed. I might play something else in between.
Like, I can't imagine playing through a Zelda game and then playing through another one.
Yeah. Like, I'm enjoying this little Assassin's Creed Renaissance I feel like I'm in. So maybe I don't
And you talked last week about the controls in the older games compared to just the iterations that they've made.
And so this would be this would be going back further in time compared to Syndicate. So I'd be like stepping even further backwards.
Exactly.
So that would be a little I think I'll take a minute. I have gotten fairly well adjusted to a Syndicate controls, but still there are times where it frustrates. Like, no, climb down, not up, you stupid. So I've been dealing with some of that frustration still, and some of these little full synchronization objectives where it's like, do this within 2 minutes, otherwise you fail the sequence, and it's like, I hate when games put a timer.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
That's a you problem. That is, I'm sorry.
I just don't want to be like, I like to take my time. I like to explore.
I do too. I get it.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from.
I mean, I did it, but like I didn't enjoy those 2 minutes of like as this like timer is like going off and this like sound is blaring in the background, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're just trying to get my like anxiety to spike, like, you know?
Yeah, they are. That's what that's about.
I guess I just feel like there's better ways than like some arbitrary like UI timer on the screen to get my anxiety up than.
Would it be different for you if it was not an on-screen UI element, but like something in the background blinking or something?
I feel like that would be like a smart, like, I don't know, like hypothetically, let's say there's a game and there's like an asteroid that's going to crash down into the earth or something, unless you do something before then, you know, like then there's like maybe sort of a visual element to it. But I could also see how that might be frustrating because
that could be confusing.
You don't know when it's going to like, you don't know the timing of it, you know. So I get that that's a delicate thing for developers to try to figure out how to like convey that message to players that this is a time
sequence. Most effective way communicatively is a
timer.
Time.
It is, yeah.
But in the case of a meteor falling, you could have like the light reflecting on the ground and then later on flames starting to appear on the ground.
Or like, I don't know, maybe like a voice like saying like, oh, we've got less than a minute, you know? I don't know.
But just have some progression happen with like the effects going on.
Yeah.
But let them die. Let them die once and then they'll know.
No, and this particular sequence I'm talking about was in like a side objective and wasn't even like mandatory.
Yeah.
For me to have like a well, actually this one I did have to do. And I did it on my first try.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like very down to the wire, but I remember like there's like 10 seconds left on the timer and I have to disarm this dynamite thing, you know?
Right.
And it's like, meanwhile my character's like grabbing onto something and I'm like, no, you idiot, stop holding that.
Yeah.
Fall down already and press the circle button.
Yeah, clunky controls and scripts and stuff. That's as bad as like escort missions in old games where the NPC AI is just jumping off ledges and
I mean, like, and what I've noticed about Assassin's Creed Syndicate is that like the main game, the main core like missions are fairly well polished and not really buggy. But the side content is maybe not as thoroughly like play tested and checked for bugs. Like there were definitely weird little glitches. Like there was this one scene where I had to shoot someone who was holding someone else like hostage, like behind him, and like the character just wasn't behind him.
Yeah.
So then, like, it shows me failing the sequence. The guy I'm supposed to protect gets shot by an invisible, like, NPC.
Oh.
And then it reloads, and I get to try it again, and then the NPC is actually, like, spawned there, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, Ubisoft games.
Yeah,
you know?
those kind of graphical glitches can actually... That's how graphical glitches can be breaking, you know?
Yeah.
Game breaking.
But so anyways, I've heard really good things about this Jack the Ripper DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and one other thing I do want to touch on about Syndicate is there is this sort of like kind of fourth wall breaking thing in the game where you get to like go through this simulation into like another simulation where it's like set during World War I in London.
Yeah.
And it's actually really cool. And it was just like, it made me go like, wow, why did they not do a whole like game here? You're like interacting with like Winston Churchill and you know, you're like manning a gun and you're like shooting planes out of the sky.
Yeah.
It was actually pretty cool. And it made for like a nice like the backdrop of like wartime like London, and there's like fires burning in the background and stuff.
Right.
It was pretty.
See, they don't have the burden of creating new characters and making you attached to them if they can just use historical figures that you're already familiar with.
Right. I mean, Winston Churchill's not an assassin. You're not running around as Winston Churchill.
Right, yeah, no, I know, but...
That would be amazing.
You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right? There's already a familiarity built up.
The character you're playing as in that World War I thing is... the like granddaughter of one of the two dual protagonists from the main game,
right?
Because it is set. It goes from 1868 to 1912.
World War One.
World War One, 1918, something like that. Yeah. So it was like 40 years later, you know.
Yeah.
So anyways, it was cool, and they did introduce some like new kind of gameplay kind of concepts within that DLC. I almost wonder if it was originally meant not a DLC. Sorry, it's like side story. Anyways, that's enough about Syndicate. That's all I've been playing.
Gotcha.
Like at least, you know, interest wise.
Yeah, I gotcha. Nothing wrong with that.
I went to an event.
Yeah.
This weekend, kind of last minute. Wasn't sure if I was gonna make it or not, but Pac-Man was celebrating his birthday this week. I think it was like his 41st or 42nd or 43rd, something like that.
You usually inform me about that kind of stuff.
It's funny, the Pac-Man like social media accounts are written from the perspective of Pac-Man.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
So it's like he's like talking to, you know, like his fans, like, you know, in like a first person kind of way. He's like, join me for my birthday party.
Yeah.
You know? And so Bandai Namco hosted this event in LA at the Magic Box, which is the same location where IGN will be having their big event starting next Friday.
Right.
And they called it Pac-Man Shine On.
Right.
And I guess they held a similar event last year in New York City. And they had like a New York City, I think, got a bigger experience. There was like this crazy like Pac-Man drone show that they did.
Really? That's cool.
We didn't quite get that here in LA, but we did get a like sort of half life-size like Pac-Man maze, which was actually pretty fun. Me and my girlfriend had fun kind of running around and pretending to be like Pac-Man and the ghosts.
Yeah, real life mazes are fun.
Yeah. And you know what? It smelled like Laser Quest.
Oh, really?
Like that wood paneling,
Was there like fog?
It was dark and like there was like neon signs and things. I'll have to show you some pictures later.
Were there dots on the ground?
No, they did kind of fail there. Yeah. There should have been.
Yeah.
And then once you kind of enter to get into the venue, you first go through the maze, and then it kind of opens up into the venue area. And inside, it had like a very Dave and Buster's kind of atmosphere.
Okay.
Except all the
That's cool. I mean, arcade. That makes total sense. It's perfect.
But like the skee ball was like Pac-Man themed.
That's
you know,
cool.
the air hockey was like Pac-Man air hockey. You know, like everything was kind of like that. And then of course they had arcade machines, but they weren't like the real arcade machines. They were those like 1-up. Kind of. You know,
they could have at least had like one original Pac-Man cabinet.
I mean, maybe there was,
even if it's just on display.
I don't want to say there wasn't, but like they were mostly the miniature cabinets,
right.
You know. So I think those are those 1-up.
Yeah.
Which I mean, you know, those are cool that they're keeping arcade style gaming alive. You know,
they are very cheap. Those 1-up machines.
They are, yeah.
I don't mean for the customer. I mean like technologically cheap.
Yeah. And like they come with a lot of add-ons. Like if you want to make it stand higher, there's like a booster seat you can get for the machine, you know.
Right.
But still, you know, it's a cool novelty. You know, it makes it accessible to people at home.
Yeah, no, totally. I support 1-up with what they do.
And they had a few different photo opportunity areas. At some point Pac-Man actually shows up.
Oh, cool.
You know?
Like a dude in a suit, right?
Right.
Not the real one.
I mean, I don't know that it's not the real one. I didn't try to open up the suit, you know? So for all I know, it's the real Pac-Man.
He's here.
He's here, everyone. So we got a picture with Pac-Man.
Of course.
And then there were some other little photo opportunities where you could like hold up different like little signs and things with like graphics on them.
That's cool.
And then there was this, I didn't get to do it.
Hold up signs with graphics on them.
You know, like it'll have like a little like 8-bit looking Pac-Man. You know, like it's like a photo booth kind of thing.
Oh, got it. Okay. So
yeah. There's like a backdrop.
Come hold up some signs, guys.
And there's like when you get your photo, there's got like a digital photo, this particular thing, and there's like a custom like little border like with like commemorating the event around it.
That's good.
There was only one thing I didn't get to do there. They had this photo area where this guy would sit you down on a chair. He put these two things on your lap that were like, they looked kind of like hands, like you would set your hands on them, but they were like all metal.
Mm-hmm.
And it would somehow, like, I don't know, convert your energy, your heat, your whatever into like these colors. And he would like do like a double exposure of like you with like these colors on the background. And then they would like stick it to this little frame, commemorative frame piece of paper thing. So we got in line to do it.
That's how Namco Bandai gets your bio data, dude. Like,
yeah, it was strange, right?
Yeah.
like are they taking my fingerprints?
Right.
I don't think they were doing that. There was no notice that they were doing that. And because it was like an instant camera, like a Polaroid kind of photo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the guy, like, so we get in line, we're there for like 5 minutes. It looked like it was kind of going to be like probably, I don't know, 20-30 minute wait. I was like, oh, I'll wait, whatever. But then the guy, like, he finishes with someone and he just comes to the end of the line. He's like, yeah, it's going to be like an hour. I got to go to lunch. And he just walks away.
What? No one's going to replace him?
No, he just walked away.
Oh my God.
So I settled for just grabbing one of these little pieces of collectible trash, the little frame that the photo would be attached to.
Cool. Okay.
Because it's got the event dates, the event location, the city, the name of the event. And I was like, you know what? I'll just take this.
That's fine.
I'm not going to sit here for an hour.
Yeah.
And then maybe the coolest thing, the actual like giveaway that they were doing, they had a screen printing company there. And I'm going to give a little shout out because they had stickers for their screen printing company. I don't know who would like really want this sticker and like it so much that they want to put it on their car or something.
Right.
But, it kind of serves as a business card.
So, but what, okay, before you shout them out though, but what do they do there? Like,
so they're screen printing t-shirts.
Okay.
So there's like a lot. When we first got there, the t-shirt line guy from Bandai Namco or event staff or whatever was like, oh yeah, we're not doing shirts right now. And I'm like, okay, well, how do I get a shirt? Like, our time period was the 4 to 6. Are you telling me that like the 4 to 6 people are just like not allowed to get a shirt?
How long was this event?
We were only there for an hour.
Oh, right.
So there were it was 6 hours long, I think.
And the dude needs a lunch. Just get it. Take a 15-minute break.
I'm not sure.
Sorry, no, we're talking about t-shirts.
So yeah, the t-shirt. So we go there to go get a t-shirt and the guy's like, oh no, not right now. And I'm like, okay, well the guys are clearly there doing t-shirts. Yeah. And like I notice you keep letting like other people in on the side.
He just singled you out.
Yeah. So like I don't know if like influencers were there or if like he was just like, hey, you're my friends, you can go in, or like, you
might be right. It might be some kind
you're attractive, maybe you'll want to sleep with me,
You'll look good in the photos.
Yeah. I don't know what that was going, but eventually at a certain time, like on the dot, so we got there like 10 minutes early and he's like, we're not doing them right now. But at 4:00 on the dot, the line opened up and we kind of noticed that there was sort of a line forming, like 5-6 people in front of us, so we kind of ran over to it real quick.
Gotcha.
But then it got crazy long. People must have been waiting 30-40 minutes to get their shirt.
Right.
So but the screen printing, I won't talk about my shirt that I got quite yet.
Oh yeah,
I will save that for the t-shirt segment later.
T-shirt segment.
But there were 4 different designs. 2 of the designs, I think all 4 of the designs were unique to the event. 2 of the designs didn't have like the name of the event or anything on it, but 2 of them did.
Okay.
So if you had to guess, what do you think I got, the shirt without the name of the event or the name of the shirt with the event on it?
I'm trying to think about this from your angle.
Right.
I would have got the one without, but
really,
yeah.
See, you wouldn't want like something that's like branded for the event
over like a Pac-Man.
Well, all 4 of them are Pac-Man shirts with the motif.
I know that, but like I don't know if it's a cool picture of like Pac-Man.
Okay,
from,
so
like, Pac-Man 2.
One of the shirts was like a wireframe like Pac-Man.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Like it looked very like digital, you know.
See, I would be tempted with something like that.
Yeah.
Over like, I don't know. I get it. I get why you would want that. I would want that.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
if it's an exclusive Pac-Man shirt.
Okay, so and here's the problem. There are 4 designs and 4 different t-shirt colors. So there's technically 16 possible different shirts that could be got.
Yeah, wow.
From the event.
And you can only
not including sizes.
You can only pick one?
You can only get one.
Wow. Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah. So I mean, I got one.
Yeah.
You know. But I guess I don't know how I would have maybe had to come back a second day to like maybe get a second one, you know.
That still doesn't give you all of them.
No, not even close. So I'll talk more about the shirt later. But one other game that they had on display was a very relatively new Pac-Man game, which is sort of some kind of. They had Pac-Man 99 on the Switch, but that got discontinued.
Right. The online features got
right. If you bought the offline DLC, you can continue to enjoy the game with bots on your own.
Right.
But since then, a new Pac-Man game has come out. Its name is escaping me, but it's sort of it's different, but it's got a similar concept where you're sort of versus other players. Like you're playing asynchronously, except like at the same time, I guess, but you're not like on each other's maps per se.
Okay.
But I guess things you do can like affect, and it's sort of like who can last the long, you know, it's sort of like a battle royale.
Right.
And so I played a couple of rounds of that.
Cool.
Actually pretty enjoyable.
This is out or coming out?
I believe it's out already.
Okay.
Something weird, well, not weird I noticed, but I was kind of thinking about that because I was like, okay, this game is released. And so then I was wondering, are these accounts, like, is this live or is this running on like a custom server?
It's probably like a segregated environment or
well,
like
so that's what I thought.
Development environment.
But it turns out they were running on like retail PS4s.
Oh, really?
And so I found the PSN account name, because it would like display the account name on like, you know, like what player you are or whatever.
The one that they're logged in as?
Yeah. Okay. And so they were all it was something like Pac-Man event 001 and it was like 1 through 8 or something like that.
Really?
So on my PlayStation app I went and sent all of them a friend request.
We'll see.
And it was funny, one of the accounts had apparently played Street Fighter 6.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know, Bandai Namco playing Capcom games,
that's
you know.
A little strange.
Yeah, it's a little sus, guys. You might want to fire that employee.
Well, I mean,
not very loyal.
I'm reminded of the guys that did PlayStation All Stars.
Yeah.
Showing up with a photo with a Wii in there.
But what's funny is they had to be subscribed to PlayStation Plus, so all 8 of those accounts were like had the PlayStation Plus thing to play online. So I wonder if they did like a 7-day trial or just to like do the event, you know?
Yeah, right.
Or if they actually paid for like a month or something.
You would think they would have their own retail PSN accounts just for this kind of situation.
But I guess they wanted to make some that they could use like whenever there's a Pac-Man event.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
They don't want it to be like BN1, BN2.
Right. That's probably exactly what it would be.
And so I'll share more, or Rick will discuss my shirt. Rick and I will discuss the shirt I got a little later.
Yeah, we'll do the t-shirt segment later. You had something else.
Yeah, sorry. One other quick thing. I had to send back my PlayStation DualSense controller for my PS5. This was a controller I just bought like a year ago. Actually not a year ago, like 9 months ago.
For PS5, right?
Yes.
Is this the one that came with your PS5?
No.
Okay.
Actually, that one I had to send back too.
Oh.
That one had the stick drift.
Oh, okay.
Years ago, like not long after I bought my PS5. And they ended up just sending me it. I had to send it in, and you have to pay for shipping, which I will say that is like kind of tacky, PlayStation.
Yeah.
That you make me pay for shipping for your default like faulty product.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of ridiculous. So I don't know if you've.
Well, I mean, it's in your possession. I can understand after, like, maybe if it's within 30 days, they could
I
pay
mean,
for shipping.
there's a 1-year warranty.
Yeah, that's true.
That, like, the parts aren't going to fail,
Right.
and the parts failed.
Right.
Like, why is that on me to spend $6-7 to send your controller back to you?
Bashing it against the cinder blocks outside.
Well, yeah, but then they'd get it and they'd be like, well, we can't do anything with
That's
this,
true.
you know? So anyways, this is my Cosmic Red DualSense.
Oh, okay. I've seen this. Yeah, I've seen that controller.
Last year they had like PlayStation did like a Days of Play sale or something like that, where like the controllers like had $30 knocked off the price of them. So I was like, hey, you know what? I could use a second controller, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, it was nice until very recently. All of a sudden, my left analog stick just started drifting. Like the controller would be just sitting down on a table, and the character's like walking off, you know, the sides of cliffs.
My Vita does that.
Oh
yeah,
no!
Yeah, I know.
Your retail Vita?
Yeah. Yeah. No, not my dev kit. Oh god,
okay.
that would be horrible. But yeah, my retail Vita does that. Not all the time.
Yeah.
Like if I reboot it probably won't. But it does it frequently. It sucks.
See, because like that's like controller and hardware like integrated, you know.
Right.
So you can't just go buy a new controller, you know.
Yeah. And it does when it does do it, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Like he's running left.
Oh no.
Like it's not even a little bit.
I think there's videos on how you can fix it. I don't know if you actually have to open up or if you just have to like really pull on the stick to pull the nub off or something.
Yeah, I'm sure there's ways of fixing it without sending it to PlayStation.
Oh well, I don't think PlayStation's repairing Vitas anymore.
But I'm saying like I'm sure there are still solutions.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be like I would be like, I need a new Vita, you know?
Right.
Like, yeah, I couldn't. So anyways, how the process works, you have to like, good luck finding the form because they try to run you around circles.
Oh yeah.
To like start the repair process.
They don't want you to do that.
Did this fix your problem? Did this fix your problem?
Yeah.
And you have to hit like no like 50 times before you finally get to like, okay, fill out a repair request.
A bunch of pre-written solutions.
Yeah.
Like Q&A stuff.
It's like, okay, I know about all of that. Yeah. I've updated my controller. I've reset the controller. Like,
yeah.
Let's just get to the part where you fix it, you know?
Right.
So you have to fill out this survey. You have to like, the serial number must be in like 0.5 size font.
Yeah, they're gonna make it as uncomfortable as they can.
I had to like take a photo of it and like blow it up.
Yeah.
Because trying to type it in while like looking at it at the same time was impossible. You gotta like type the model number in, the color, all of that stuff. Eventually they give you like an address to send it to. They give you instructions on what you need to include. Like you need to put the controller in a box. You need to put like your name, your return address, why you're returning it, and other information on like a sheet of paper that you include inside the box.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the repair like order number that you were given.
Jeez.
Yeah, there's like 30 minutes of work you gotta do.
Yeah, that's...
And then so you pack it all up and then you send it off, and then it says like, oh, punch in your code to track your order, you know? Like, so once it's received. So I sent it with UPS. And after like 3 days, it said that UPS delivered it to some Laredo, Texas.
Okay.
And sure enough, it got delivered, but like 2 weeks went by before PlayStation confirmed that they received my shipment.
Yeah.
So for 2 weeks, I was just like, I guess I got lost.
Yeah.
It says it was picked up by someone named Pedro at the dock. So it's like, I guess Pedro got a free controller. It's like, joke's on him. It doesn't work very well. So then I did finally get a notification that my controller was received. And then like a day later, I got a notification that my controller was being shipped back to me.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, at least that turnaround's pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so it arrived 3-4 days later, and they sent me a brand new Cosmic Red controller.
Yeah, that's the easiest thing for them.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to pay some dude to fix your controller,
yeah,
and he's going to take, an hour to do that, yeah, just send you a new one.
Yeah. And I'm kind of grateful that I get a new one, because at least like, okay, well, like now I don't have the battery degradation that's occurred over the last year. I'm like starting fresh again, you know. There's no scuffs on like where I try to stick the charging controller in with the cable. And funny story, this Cosmic Red controller, like a month after I bought it last year, I was sitting on my couch playing a game. I had a beer in my lap. Yeah. And I was holding my controller, and all of a sudden, I kind of like see something from the corner of my eye, and there is a massive spider. Yeah. Crawling on up my chest, and so I like
jump. Yeah.
Yeah, and like my controller goes flying, the beer goes flying.
The beer and the controller collide.
The beer and the controller met in the air, and I was worried that I had ruined my controller, you know. Yeah. But turns out it didn't. Okay. It continued to work for a long time, but there was always this like kind of crunchy sound. Yeah. In the controller, so yeah, I kind of don't have the beer controller anymore too. So that, I guess it was worth the $6 I paid to ship it out.
I would say so.
Yeah. At least I didn't have to pay return shipping either.
Yeah, right.
I was worried they were going to open my controller up and be like, "Oh no, this problem is due to the water damage."
This problem is due to the user.
Even though DualSense controllers are like notorious for having stick drift, along with the Nintendo Switch.
They're great controller technology, but they have that one flaw, and they won't fix it. It's been a problem for generations.
It's probably like $1 fix. Yeah. And like they have to use Hall effect sensor sticks rather than like these analog sticks that they use. Right. And they just don't want to do it.
They just won't do it.
Nintendo won't do it. But at least Nintendo's good. Nintendo will even repair your Joy-Cons outside of warranty in the US.
Really?
Yeah. So if you ever start having faulty Joy-Cons, it doesn't matter how long ago you bought it, you can just send it in. Okay. And they'll fix it.
That's cool.
Yeah, you'll either get a same color back, but then the ones from Nintendo are clearly like someone opened it up and fixed it.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, it might not be the one that you originally had, but they will just get one out to you like ASAP.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I can't imagine if you like had to send in your whole PS5 for repair and like 2 weeks of like no communication from them. Right. I would be like probably a little distraught. Like, my $500 thing, did you guys get it or not? You know.
That's kind of how things are on the development side. Yeah. With them, like turnaround time wise.
I think Sony's customer service is just like across company wide. It's just not the greatest. Yeah. Because I've had like other things over the years with Sony, and I've always just kind of had like a similar, like, not bad, but just like total lack of communication from them. Right. And just like really hard.
They're very quick to send you that newsletter with all the ads for all the new games.
Right. Every week.
They're good at that.
3 times a week.
They're good about that. But yeah, anytime it's like communication, anytime you need something from them, they're gonna drag their feet. Seraphim Weekly Update?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so I'm having problems with my motherboard. Well, I should say that I did get further into the data flow stuff. I'm pretty much done with the part I need to be done with. Okay. There's still more to do in other scripts, but the part that immediately affects me right now, I'm gonna move on from that. But yeah, my motherboard's cutting out. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I just replaced my motherboard, so I don't think I'm gonna have to replace it again. I think it might be just a connection issue. Okay. But I'm in the process of opening it up and doing all that. It's actually open at home right now.
When did you get a new motherboard?
September.
Oh, something. Because I was with you when you built that.
Yeah,
PC
when we
originally.
built it in 2014.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the motherboard. Because when I'm working and I have Max open with my boss model, and I have the game open and the engine and the script editor open with the biggest script I have in the game, and I have my whole screen setup going on, I put that in sleep when I'm going to step away. Okay. Like, I'm not going to shut that down, because that's getting all that reopened is a whole 15-20 minute process.
How much RAM you got these days?
I'm up to 64 gigs.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And it still takes that long to open all that?
Well, no, just for me to situate.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Like get it all organized.
Stuff, yeah. I updated the RAM sticks like last year too.
Okay.
So yeah, those are new. A lot of stuff, and there more components are new than old.
Right.
In my beast.
Okay.
At this point.
Still the same chassis.
Yeah, still the same chassis. I might replace that too at some point. Okay. I don't know. We'll see. I honestly, I'm getting more and more partial to a transparent chassis, because if I can see the components inside, I might be able to see if there's something, amiss.
Yeah.
So I think I might do that at some point.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, I'm working on my hardware. That's my update.
Dang. Well, that's unfortunate. That could be a long-term stumbling block.
Not really. I'm not letting this stuff stress me out.
Okay. All right. All right. If you're not stressed, then I won't stress.
Yeah, don't stress. I'll get it fixed, and then I'll be right back. If you let stuff stress you out during this process, you're gonna fail.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, is it your hard drive and everything is secure?
Yeah. Oh yeah. All my data secure, and I have turned it on. It just still has the issue.
So what happens when you turn it on?
When it's when the issue is in place, I turn it on and it's on and no signal. Like, it just doesn't connect to the monitors or any of the USB accessories.
Oh, okay.
It's just, I could hear it spin up. I hear it running, and then other times I'll turn it on and it'll fire up. So it could be a few things.
Okay.
It could be the updates I made. Now I need to update my power supply, because those new components might require more power.
Right.
Like more voltage than they were getting with the old one.
So you try to diagnose and figure this out yourself, or do you go to an expert?
Yeah, I'm doing it myself.
Okay.
At this point, I only go to him when I need new stuff put in.
Okay.
But if I can fix stuff on my own, I will.
Sure.
But yeah, that's it.
Okay. Need that hardware found noise.
Yeah, hardware found. But yeah, so let's get in the news.
Sure. So this week we've got 3 different stories, all about one company acquiring another.
Yeah.
So I call this the acquisitioning.
Yep.
This is a trend that's been going on in the industry the last few years, and nothing is on that kind of level here.
Right.
Well, the IGN one is pretty big. We'll start with that one.
If you think about it, it's weird because in the last episode we were talking about layoffs as a consequence of acquisitions.
Right.
Now we're having another acquisition episode.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, some of these acquisitions. Well, let's just start with this first one, okay?
Yeah.
And we can kind of come back to this at the end after we've looked at all 3.
Sounds good.
Okay, so this first acquisition, let's go back to November of last year. Reed Pop, the organizer behind such events as Penny Arcade Expo, New York Comic Con, Star Wars Celebration, and more, announced that they intended to sell their portfolio of games press websites, so like game journalism websites,
right.
Known as the Gamer Network of websites. The Gamer Network includes a large array of popular and well-known news games outlets, particularly in Europe. Rock Paper Shotgun, Eurogamer, and Games Industry Biz. Games Industry Biz in particular is known for having like a very business-oriented approach. We've used some of their articles as sources for our reporting here on the BitBeacon before.
They talk about like Wall Street stats and stuff sometimes.
Yeah. And so now IGN is looking to pick them up, or they did pick them up. But Reed Pop originally acquired these websites back in 2018, pre-pandemic, thinking that the outlets would basically help them promote their in-person events that they were doing.
Right.
obviously the pandemic came. ReedPop wasn't doing any in-person events for like 2-3 years.
Right.
And their investment started to look a little stupid.
Yeah.
Video games industry memo founder George Osborne reports ReedPop was looking to get $20 million to take the websites off their hands.
Right.
Specifically, he says, according to my sources, the company successfully rebuffed efforts to pick off individual outlets from the deal. This included rejecting an offer from a notable games industry events organizer who wanted to purchase Games Industry Biz to support his high-profile activities throughout the year. Now, when you hear that, who do you think of? There's only one person who's like made a name for himself as an event guy in the games industry.
Jeff Keighley,
Jeff Keighley, exactly.
Of course, that's who it is.
So, that's what I thought too. So, while he's never named in the article, Jeff apparently thought to address this on his X account, saying, "This is not true." So that was his only comment on it. So I mean, I don't know if you take him at his word there, or if maybe there was some tiny facet of the story that was incorrect, so Jeff could say this isn't true.
I was only looking at these 2 websites,
not that one.
Right.
So ultimately, it was IGN that purchased the Gamer Network for an undisclosed sum. But we can probably, if they were asking for $20 million, I could see them getting less for it. Some kind of negotiation happening.
Doesn't IGN have a parent company?
Ziff Davis.
That's right.
Yeah, but I believe Ziff Davis sort of uses IGN as their brand now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they don't want you to know about them. They're the wizard behind the
the curtain.
Yeah.
But IGN has like outlets in Asia, outlets in Europe, outlets in South America.
Right. There's like IGN Italy and stuff.
Exactly, all of that. But now they've added like the rest of like every major European outlet,
right,
is now under the IGN umbrella.
Polygon, Kotaku, those guys are under a different parent company, right?
Some of them I think are independent. I think some of them are under parent companies, some of them aren't. But yes, they're unaffected by this. Okay. So this particular acquisition doesn't really mess with any US based outlets, as far as I'm aware.
Gotcha.
So not only are we seeing the consolidation of like games companies and games developers, now we're seeing the consolidation of like games
media.
But I just want to make something clear. The Bit Beacon cannot be bought. We will continue speaking our truth to whoever will listen.
Unless the price is right.
Right, there is an asterisk next to the word bought.
Yeah.
So, we're open to offers.
Yeah, I mean, if it's going to pay for the house.
Anyways, at the same time of IGN's acquisition, staff across the gamer networks were notified, some staff, I should say, were being notified that they were being made redundant.
Yeah.
So as soon as the acquisition is announced, some people were getting emails saying, we don't need you anymore.
I mean...
So some of the notable layoffs real quick.
Yeah.
Game Industry Biz's senior managing editor Brendan Sinclair was let go. Alice Bell, deputy editor at Rock Paper Shotgun, was let go. And BG 24/7's new editor, Stephanie Nunnally Jackson, news editor, was also let go. So these are just some of the more like noteworthy people. I don't want to say noteworthy, but like people who like talked about it and were like in high up positions.
Right.
Seems like IGN is starting at the top.
Yeah, the suits.
The people that are more expensive, the people who have like been working at those websites for a long time.
Right.
Not so much the suits, but like the actual like the people running the the website. The day-to-day news coverage, like the guy in charge of the newsroom, those kinds of people.
Right. I'm not as invested in the welfare of this, these companies as much,
I mean, it's similar. I mean, these are the magazines of today,
Yeah, I get, but they're not. They're not, though.
They're not, though.
They replaced the magazines today, but they're not.
I mean, I know that this like Brendan Sinclair guy has been like is like a 20-year like industry journalism. But I mean, some of these guys probably worked for magazines at one point,
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
and then their magazine gets shut down, and you know they transition.
I'm not saying we'll be great without these companies existing. I'm just saying that, like, you know, I don't know.
I mean, I just
they can stand it down.
From a news standpoint, is what we really need IGN controlling all news?
No, we don't. I'm surprised this is legal.
Right? Maybe because it's like an American company buying like a European company.
I guess, yeah, that must be the loophole.
So with this acquisition, you know, IGN now controls the overwhelming majority of like all English-speaking games journalism, like worldwide, effectively.
Right.
You know, outlets like Game Informer, Polygon, and Kotaku, like you mentioned.
Destructoid's out there too.
Destructoid is out. I don't even know what Destructoid is anymore. So many of these websites are not game websites anymore. Like they talk about games, but they're talking about like every TV show, every movie, every comic, anything pop culture is like, that's just what they cover now.
Forgot to mention Gama Sutra.
Gama Sutra and like Silicon Era, they're still, well, Gama Sutra's gone.
Oh, Ars Technica. Wait, Gama Sutra's gone?
Gama Sutra rebranded to, wait, I think Gama Sutra is games industry biz, unless I'm getting that wrong.
I don't think so.
No, they rebranded. I know they rebranded.
Yeah, no, but games industry biz has been around forever. They're more of like for a website for like investors.
What did Gama Sutra turn into? Sorry, I'm gonna have to
Google that. There's Ars Technica too.
Ars Technica, they're like more technology at large.
Yeah. But they do cover.
Okay,
games.
Gama Sutra rebranded as game developer.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So I mean, there's places like that are still out there.
Yeah.
But like for like specifically Eurogamer, that's like that's like Europe's IGN effectively.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do wonder if IGN intends to, I guess we'll see, like if they're going to keep these outlets intact, if they're going to try to like merge them,
make it all
just
IGN,
turn them all into IGN.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a mistake on their part.
Oh yeah, that would be.
Because there's people who like a certain website's take on things, you know?
Right.
Where if they just turn it into IGN.
See, my worry is if they're gonna, and I know this is gonna be the case, they're gonna start shifting the writing for these websites, like, you know, the angles and it's going to be written completely different.
Hypothetically, let's just look at game reviews for an example.
Right.
We have IGN with 20 outlets, and all 20 outlets get to write a review for a game.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of freaking control.
That's a huge amount of bias.
That's a lot of market control.
Yeah, like they could make, I mean, I'm not suggesting that like...
They literally can make or break a game.
Right.
With these guys...
Like, let's be honest. Games journalism outlets have probably taken bribes over the years to give games.
Yeah, oh yeah, and that's while they were all separate companies.
Right.
This is literally like IGN taking over, like the gates to the games industry.
Yeah, and so much of like bonuses and things now are tied not just to sales but to like review thresholds.
Yeah.
Like in people's contracts, it'll be like if this game gets over an 80 on Metacritic, you know, you'll get this kind of bonus. If it gets a 85, if it gets an 87, if it gets a 90.
Yeah, you're right. These companies, developers, publishers especially, base all of their decisions on Metacritic score. And I don't understand it, but they value that as like some kind of, and I don't even know why Metacritic is so prestigious of a standard.
Metacritic was just the first one to aggregate reviews.
Yeah.
But
reviews by these companies that are all biased and you know, like it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't.
Go by sales numbers.
Yeah.
You know.
But I mean, typically high reviews translate into better sales.
Right, but you can cut out the middleman and just look at your own damn sales numbers. And base your decisions. I
mean, the genie's out of the bottle. Like, reviews are a part of like people's process to buy games now. Right. You know, there's too many. Like, if all of a sudden, like every developer, every publisher was like, we're no longer sending out our games for review.
You know what it is? It's because shareholders and investors sell and buy stock based on the media's opinions. Yeah. Which is...
Honestly, I could not imagine. I feel like the games industry, like if you're someone who likes to, fiddle around with stocks and stuff.
Right.
Overall, I would say the games industry is probably like a dumb place to be using your time.
Yeah,
unless... like I get if you're an enthusiast and you have a personal interest in it.
The thing is, if you have a deep knowledge of it and you can predict, hey, there's a new console coming out before Wall Street can.
Right.
Because those guys don't know games.
Right.
You might have an edge. But I see what you're saying. It's highly volatile compared to...
Yeah, and like the numbers don't go up.
Some do, some don't.
There's only one major example in recent memory I can think of, like where like big gains were had. That's the whole GameStop thing.
Right. Well, that is... That's a special, like...
Sure, I know.
That's like a meme-driven.
That's an asterisk.
So, this isn't... I mean, I consider this gaming. I have NVIDIA, right? I put 2100 down on NVIDIA back in... let me get the date. Hang on. I bought it in April. Yeah, okay. April 8th. Is that right? No.
You bought it a couple months ago.
March 6th. So yeah, I have like invested 2100 into NVIDIA.
Okay.
I bought, which means I bought 2.6 shares.
Okay.
At $886 each.
Okay.
It is now trading at $1,160, and I am up $716 right now. I could sell, and I'll have made $716.
Right.
That's a lot. That's quite a bit.
Okay, like, I don't necessarily look at
static.
I don't look at NVIDIA and think gaming personally.
I do.
Their applications are far and wide reaching.
Yeah, they affect a lot of the tech industry, but
they're just computer.
They absolutely have a focus in games.
I was specifically talking about like Nintendo.
Nintendo stock doesn't move much because it's a foreign company.
Or like Electronic Arts,
Right. So when it's a company in another country's economy, it's over here what you get is called an ADR. Mm-hmm. And what that is just a ticker symbol that represents a foreign country's stock. Okay. So if you buy four shares of Nintendo over here in our market, that is representative of one share of Japanese stock in Nintendo. So because the stock is an ADR, it's very rigid. You can only do anything with it between 6 o'clock Eastern time and, like it's very rigid and it doesn't move much.
Okay.
Because you're operating at 4 shares versus, 1 share. Yeah. So that's why Nintendo, it just stays completely static and stagnant and doesn't have like big spikes.
Right.
Other companies, like if you look at Microsoft, it does. It goes up and down.
Microsoft is like a big thing. Xbox is like such a tiny portion of what they do.
Well, okay, so you're looking at only companies that only do games?
Basically, yeah.
Okay, there's like 3 of those on
EA,
the stock market.
Ubisoft.
Yeah, there's not very many of those. So when I think of the games industry, I am thinking of GameStop. I am thinking of NVIDIA, maybe even IBM, but to a lesser degree.
Okay.
And Take-Two is on the stock market.
Take-Two is there.
Take-Two does go up and down all the time.
Sure.
Yeah, the American stock companies, they fluctuate. Okay. It's those ADRs that I think you're seeing.
Okay.
But
yeah, I would just think like, okay, sure, like NVIDIA is like, that's like one of those golden stocks right now. That's just seems to be like...
Yeah, well...
and again, none of this is advice, and we're way off topic now.
We're way off topic, but I do want to clarify. The reason NVIDIA's on like this crazy spike right now is because it is leading in AI development.
Sure.
And so if you were going to try to invest in AI... you would want to invest in NVIDIA.
And they were also, prior to this, it was like the blockchain wave as well. Yeah. People were using NVIDIA graphics cards to mine Bitcoin.
Were they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you might be right. NVIDIA's just at the forefront of everything.
Sure.
So
I'm so sorry if you're hearing some dumb kids screaming.
What are they doing?
I don't know. They just won't stop.
All right, where were we?
Okay, so we're at the end of this story about IGN. So again, just kind of our thoughts on this were that, you know, like the consolidation of journalism has like kind of big implications.
It's like, this is crazy. This is like Hollywood level gatekeeping.
Right. Now, read pop, all these European outlets were already under one roof to begin with.
Right.
So this is one bigger house buying a smaller house of, like, you know, residents, so to say.
Right.
But yeah, just kind of crazy to think that they're just even more enclosed and encapsulated.
IGN, better like your game or it's gonna tank.
And next week I'll be at IGN Live.
Yeah.
So
you can talk to him for me.
My friend Rick thinks so. You guys are doing a real bad job.
Wagging your finger in their face. It's just some like booth staff.
It's funny because I've seen stuff like that in real life, where someone's like,
"Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, someone will go up to someone at the Nintendo booth and tell them all their problems with like the new Super Mario Brothers.
Like, what were you thinking with the new backflip? Like." And some poor guy who probably doesn't even work for Nintendo. He's just working the event.
Yeah, he works for some agency that Nintendo.
It's just like, oh, I'm sorry. And you know, they're just instructed to be nice, you know.
Yeah, I've seen that too. You're right. Good point.
So I'll try not to do that next week.
Yeah, don't make a damn fool of yourself.
Okay, let's move on to our next acquisition here.
Yes, yeah. Speaking of Nintendo.
Yes, speaking of the devil himself.
No, not quite.
No?
I don't think they're the devil.
They're not the devil? Well, it's just a turn of phrase.
EA.
Okay, EA is like, oh, I don't want to insult anyone at EA, but you know, yeah.
I don't know. I'll go there.
All right. Rick's going to go there.
Yeah.
Okay, so amidst all the restructuring going on in Embracer, remember Middle-earth Coffee Stains and, you know, all these weird spin-off companies that they're making?
They think they're, like, reinventing and innovating the corporation.
So one of their studios that I guess is not being incorporated into one of their 3 new branches at Embracer is Shiver Entertainment.
Right.
And so they're selling Shiver Entertainment to an unexpected buyer.
Yeah.
Nintendo now wholly owns Shiver Entertainment. The sum of money that Nintendo paid for Shiver was not disclosed, but Nintendo expects, and I quote, "The acquisition will have only a minor effect on our results for this fiscal year." So Shiver Entertainment is located in Miami, Florida, which makes Shiver Entertainment's 3rd U.S.-based studio after Retro Studios in Austin and Nintendo Software Technology in Redmond. Retro Studios known for the Metroid Prime games, Donkey Kong Country games, the 2 most recent ones, and Nintendo Software Technology is known for like the Mario minis and stuff like that.
Right.
A few other like in-house titles as well.
Right.
So Shiver isn't known for developing any of their own intellectual properties, but instead they take contract work porting games from one platform to another. In recent years, they've become particularly proficient in porting games to the Nintendo Switch. They did the Switch ports for Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat 1, and Hogwarts Legacy. So will Shiver be working on ports for Nintendo? Like, why would Nintendo want a porting company?
So
before we get into it, why do you?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this since the story broke. Okay. And I see in my head Nintendo with the Switch has been, well, they started before the Switch, but they really ramped it up with the Switch. They've really been opening up their gates to a much wider audience and a much wider just type of game.
Okay.
You know, being M-rated games. A lot of games on I think more games on PlayStation are being ported to Switch than previously, like previous generations, PC as well. I think Nintendo sees that, hey, if we're going to open up the floodgates to and and not be sticklers about family friendly and all this like we have in the past, maybe we should have our own porting company so that our ports to Switch are at least have some first party factor to them, and we're not just relying on third parties to
Right, but what game? Nintendo makes games for their own hardware. Why would they need help porting their own games?
Like, I own Mortal Kombat 11 on
right,
on Switch, and that's a port. That's a straight up port.
Right, but so Nintendo traditionally doesn't do ports for people,
Right.
So, but okay, let's talk about what Nintendo said here then. So by welcoming Shiver's experienced and accomplished development team, Nintendo aims to secure high-level resources for porting and developing software titles. Going forward, even after it becomes part of the Nintendo Group, Shiver's focus will remain the same, continuing commissions that port and develop software for multiple platforms, including Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
So like you were saying, it sounds like Nintendo is almost going to be offering like their in-house services effectively at this point.
I think Shiver's probably going to remain Shiver. So I think it is still going to be kind of its own entity. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Well, yeah, so like Shiver is wholly owned by Nintendo,
right?
So
yes.
Basically saying like, hey, we think these guys are wizards,
right? But you're not going to be logging into some Nintendo portal to get to Shiver, is what I'm saying. I think like NetherRealm Studios is going to go to Shiver,
right?
And business as usual, but just Nintendo owns it,
right? That does make me think. I imagine Shiver can only probably work on a couple titles at a time because these aren't like small games to port.
Right.
Like assets have to be remade to get these games to run on Switch.
No.
From what I understand, yes, they had to do that for the Harry Potter game. For example.
Yeah. The Harry. I mean, well, okay. So, do you know what kind of assets? Models? Or...
Yeah, like graphics, textures and things.
Yeah, so, I mean, textures can just be...
I mean, models have to be scaled down, too. The Switch can't handle...
The poly count, yeah, but there's software now that does that for you.
Right.
And there's software that can just scale down your textures.
But this, to me, says that, like, hey, Nintendo... First of all, this tells me a couple things. It tells me that the Switch successor is going to be... similar to develop for the Switch. It's not going to be like some drastic, like you got to relearn.
Yeah, they wouldn't be investing in. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. How does the story tell you that?
Because like they feel that these people are good at like what Nintendo has made,
right?
And obviously there's probably going to be some like backwards compatibility going forward. And they probably similar.
We assume.
Yeah, of course, we're assuming. This is all assumption here.
Yeah.
But what it's telling me to assume is that Nintendo thinks that these guys are great.
Yeah, so they'll be great at the next
thing.
They're
probably going to be useful because they're going to be able to like be up and running immediately. And now Nintendo can give them access to Switch 2 like immediately.
Right.
And so they can get like familiar and like ready to go and ready to start helping people port their games.
Right. I do think this move is related to the new console for sure.
I think so too.
But that doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to be a whole new skill set for the next console. They're probably just seeing the talent, being like, you guys are good at porting, so we'll get you access.
There's a plethora of reasons, though, why Nintendo would be stupid to be like, you guys need to relearn our next console,
Yeah, but people were calling the Switch design stupid before it came out, too.
Really?
Yeah, they were.
I mean, sure, there's always naysayers.
Right.
But, like, I felt overwhelmingly people were pretty positive on the Switch.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever. My point is just that because they bought this company doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the same skill set and same knowledge base as the Switch.
Right.
It could end up being something completely different. They just see talent with porting,
right?
And we're going to invest in you, get you the resources to start learning the new stuff.
Right, and I'm not saying you're wrong either, but I'm saying it's probably more likely that like they're going to find that these people will be useful immediately.
Sure.
Like then I think it's more beyond this. I think it's more likely in general, just like how PS5 was a lot similar to PS4. Like people were able to just easily continue development, you know.
Yeah, on the software side, you mean.
Right. So like for software for Switch, Nintendo has made it traditionally hard in the past at times, making people relearn how to make games for them.
Yeah.
So Nintendo probably wants to avoid those kinds of mistakes again.
Yeah, I think all the well, it's Sony too. Sony experienced the same thing
with PS3.
Yeah, PS3.
They wanted to avoid that. They didn't want to ever do that again.
And Vita.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe they are learning their lessons. That you're right. They would be wise to keep it the same, but if you do, I mean, you can't just keep the same file format forever. You can't.
Well, okay. Another thing that makes me kind of think about this is remember all of a sudden after years, Nintendo's just started cracking down on Switch emulation.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they be cracking down on it so hard? And
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I just think there's some things you can infer from these recent things happening around Nintendo.
Right.
And I think that regarding the piracy, I think their concern is that people will be able to easily reverse engineer Switch 2 emulation because it is so similar to the original Switch.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
So, I don't know. I just think things are kind of adding up to a very similar...
Yeah, I do agree. Like, fundamentally, ultimately, at the end of the day, I agree with everything. Yeah, and I do think it is most likely that it will be a similar format. Very similar. Like, interchangeable format. Yeah.
So this means this will be like the first time I feel like Nintendo's ever just like had like a company to help people with their... I mean, sometimes you have resources internally that you make available. Like you have a helpline for developers that you can like, for like major, huge third-party partners for games that are going to sell millions of copies and stuff.
You have a developer forum.
Right, but there's probably engineers available to certain developers that aren't available to other developers.
Yeah, so like I can talk on the other side of that.
Sure.
There are fees to have someone come to your studio.
Right.
It's like the minimum package is 10 grand.
Wow.
And then there's a 20 grand package. And then there's like an 80 grand package where it's like they're like they set up their sleeping bag or something. But yeah, you can actually have someone come to like your studio. And yeah, I'm sure you can get an engineer on phone and stuff. But that is going to cost. Yeah. Like they charge for that.
Now, I could see Nintendo, for some places, waiving those kinds of fees if your game is expected, or projected, I should say, to maybe sell millions of copies and generate a huge amount of revenue for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, those are the people that fees are for.
Yeah, but I feel like you would also want to make yourself available in some way. Like I could see like a AA developer maybe maybe their game will sell 20,000 copies on our system or something, so we're going to charge them. But like the Harry Potter game, for example, that thing probably sold 3 million copies on Switch,
Yeah.
And so like if some engineer at the company porting it or developing it is like, hey, we're running into this really unique problem, like is there anything we can do? Like the Switch software will just get stability updates, the operating system.
Right.
And sometimes I think those updates are to like make things possible in certain upcoming games or games that are already out that are expected to get an update or something like that.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, I feel like this is them like doubling down on that and basically going to be offering like, hey, you don't want to port your game, we'll port it for you. Maybe Nintendo sees, like you pay us, obviously.
Right.
But like it's mutually beneficial because we all make more money when your game is on the Switch. You know?
Right. Yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's gonna stay business as usual. I don't see how it's gonna be.
Nintendo says it will. Yeah. So out of an acquisition like this, if you're gonna be acquired by any company, probably the best possible company you could be acquired by is Nintendo. Like in
terms of longevity.
Yeah, like job security and your company being around for a long time goes way up. Nintendo has talked about in the past that the reason why they just don't buy up companies is because like they see people like racing to gobble up all these companies, but it's like, and then they watch what happens around them. Like they don't make sense. People are doing it just to do it, just for the arms race effect, effectively, like, wow, look at our arsenal of studios that we have.
I don't know what it's supposed to be.
I saw this photo of Microsoft kind of did this, like, they put out this image a year or two ago that had like all their first party studios like in this one image, like kind of like and then I saw a recent picture of that same image, and like half of them are X'd out because they don't exist anymore. It's like, how, that's just so messed up.
I don't know, it's so pointless. They're throwing money away. I don't know if it's maybe all the shareholders on Wall Street all got it into their heads at once that this is what we need to do, and
they're doing it, we got to do it too.
Right. And now they're laying everyone off, and we got a bunch of just layoffs and corrections. All right, let's do t-shirts. So do you want to talk about mine?
Yeah, I'll talk about what you're wearing.
All right.
Okay, so Rick is wearing, I want to say black, but maybe navy blue.
Yeah, it's a dark navy.
Deep navy blue shirt that says Super Mario Brothers. And then it's got, 16 different squares. Each square has a pixelated, like classic NES Mario character and like enemies. And it's almost like what would you call something like this?
Like a sprite sheet.
Yeah, I guess. I just mean like almost like an encyclopedic. Like,
oh, yeah, it's like a table.
Yeah, and because it has all of the names of all the characters underneath it. So it's got, in order, I'm just going to go right to left, one row at a time, or left to right, one row at a time. We've got Toad, who looks like he's giving me the finger.
Yeah, he really does. Both hands.
Both hands. He's just like...
Yeah.
Then you've got Mario, and he's in his brown boots and shirt. You've got Peach with her big lips.
Right.
And you've got Luigi. You've got Spiny Shell, or just says Spiny. You've got a Goomba. You've got Bowser. You've got a Koopa Paratroopa. You've got Bullet Bill. You got a Cheep Cheep. You got Lakitu. Okay, I have a question about Lakitu.
Yeah.
Is there just one Lakitu? Is it just like he's Lakitu? Or is it like Lakitu is a species?
I took it as a species.
Okay. I've never... Because I feel like in like the sports games and stuff, it's like, this is Lakitu, I don't know, though.
But I mean, Koopa...
Do you ever see more than one Lakitu at once, though? Ever in a game?
I don't know, but Koopa's another character in that game, and that's definitely species.
Yeah, definitely. I just don't know that I've ever seen like more than one Lakitu at once. Kind of just makes me question if there is more than one.
I think there is.
Okay, well, they must reproduce. So,
yeah.
They do kill a lot of them. Okay, you've got a Piranha Plant. You got the Hammer Bro. Oh man, the Hammer Bros used to upset me so much as a kid.
They're probably the most frustrating thing.
Because they're just total RNG, like when the hammer gets thrown. Right. You've got the Blooper. I love the Blooper. You've got a Buzzy Beetle, which is the hard shell one that you usually see, like
the black one.
Yeah, black or blue. And then you've got just plain old Koopa Troopa.
Yep. So, and then the font is like 8-bit.
Yeah, it looks very much like Mario font.
Obviously, for the game Super Mario Brothers.
Anything on the back?
You tell me.
No, we're clean and clear.
But inside,
the tag is still attached.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's got that.
So how do you wash this shirt?
Very carefully with like a rag.
Hand wash it. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, keeping my tags on.
All right, so I have my event shirt.
Yeah, so let me take a gander at this. Let's see. So it's a pastel yellow shirt and
almost Pac-Man color, you could say.
I would say Pac-Man yellow. And then in a orange to pink gradient across the front of it, we have the 4 ghosts, like a vector print, I guess, of the 4 ghosts. And then the Pac-Man title art in front of those. And then underneath that, we have like a pixelated Pac-Man eating the dots, which have... Is that the name of it? Is that the name of the event?
Yeah, Shine On.
Okay, yeah. So there are the dots, and then right under the line of dots it says "Shine On."
Yep.
Very
and
nice.
there's one other little detail down there.
Copyright BNEI, which is Bandai Namco
Entertainment International or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. Nice shirt.
Yes.
I can't wear yellow myself.
No.
I just don't. I don't feel like I look good in yellow.
Okay. I don't know how much yellow. I have a Dragon Quest yellow shirt.
Oh yeah, so do I. That's right.
The
I
Monster
think that's
Gatherer shirt.
That might be the only one.
But yeah, you know what the color reminds me of? Do you remember the Big Stick popsicles?
Yeah.
It's kind of got that like
the SpongeBob one. You're talking about the ones you get from the Ice Cream Man? Or...
Yeah, but they're just like, I don't remember them ever being branded.
Oh, okay.
I just mean like they're just like this like really long orange yellow.
Yeah, like, you're right. It does have that same color scheme.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so the color reminds me of a Big Stick.
Yeah.
And again, this shirt was made by the Print Renegades. They do screen printing.
Print Renegades.
And I'm not sure where they're based out of, but if you need screen printing, Bandai Namco uses them.
Yeah.
So, they got to be pretty good.
Yeah, hold on to that for me.
You got it. We could just put it on the back of your car so you don't forget.
Yeah, right.
They were dressed like very hippie. Like, it was interesting. Like, they had a very, like they rolled out of the Mystery Machine or something,
Like they rolled out of, like, Portland?
I don't know about that. They looked like they'd be like in Haight-Ashbury in like the 60s.
Interesting. Oh, okay, yeah.
Like they had like leather satchels and stuff, like on their like the stuff they were wearing.
I can only see that in Portland.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Riding on a bike built for two.
We've got one more acquisition story we want to talk about.
Yes.
And so two former rivals are now one. Atari has acquired the Intellivision brand from Intellivision LLC, which will soon be rebranding because they can no longer call themselves Intellivision LLC. So in the late 70s and early 80s, Atari and Intellivision were fighting for like video game market dominance.
Yeah.
Like they were...
Yeah, the original Atari and Intellivision, these are two different companies.
They are, yeah, at this point. But that was the OG console war. Yeah. Was Atari and Intellivision.
And Coleco.
Coleco too.
Yeah.
There were some other honorable mentions.
Tandyvision, which became Radio Shack.
That's right. So while Atari has maintained relevancy over the years, mostly in part due to like really good use of like branding and marketing.
Yeah, just that logo. Just throwing that logo around.
And right now they're kind of in the middle of their own sort of renaissance. Their comeback. And television, on the other hand, has pretty much long fallen out of relevancy. And their recent failed comeback by Tommy Tallarico and company to launch their new Intellivision console, the Amico.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that this just dawned on me the other day. Tommy loves his name so much, he even included it in the name of his console, like the Eco. The Tallarico Amico.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. You're right. I never did notice that.
Like how...
I'm not shocked at all.
He is truly something else, man.
Yeah.
So the console and controversy surrounding it has only damaged the brand further.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's ruined.
Yeah.
The brand. I don't know why they're buying it.
So Intellivision is now in the hands of Atari, and perhaps the games and the brand can live to see a new dawn at some point in the future. I think it is going to be hard. Like let's say 2 years from now, they try to like launch Intellivision stuff somehow. Right. I feel like people are going to be like, it's just going to be forever stained by Tommy Tallarico.
Yeah.
But not only did they buy the brand, they also acquired 200 games, like 200 intellectual properties that belong to Intellivision.
Right.
That I guess Tommy originally bought alongside the branding.
Right.
So, I mean, there is a rich history to the Intellivision.
We got to talk about Atari real quick. They're not that different from Intellivision right now. I mean, they went through the whole VCS console thing, and that took, 4 crowdfunding campaigns. And people not getting their refunds.
They launched it.
They did launch it. That's the only thing that sets them apart.
And now something that should be mentioned is that the people who were making the Atari Hotel and the VCS, those people are no longer part of Atari.
Yeah, I know.
So a new group of people are kind of moving on from that stuff. And Atari is now more into making actual functional like Atari consoles, new Atari games that like on Atari cartridges, as well as bringing classic Atari games to modern platforms and making like new modern games with Atari IP. And so, recently we talked about how they acquired like Digital Eclipse and other companies that specialize in like doing cool stuff with retro games and making them available elsewhere beyond just.
I'm just saying they've done scummy stuff, like their whole trailer for I think it was the last Roller Coaster Tycoon. I don't know if you saw it, but they did a crowdfunding for it, of course. And then that Michael Arts guy, who's no longer with the company, I understand that, came out like right in the beginning, and he's like, "We're Atari. You might have heard of us." Like just the whole tone of it, it was very weird.
Yeah, I'm glad that I don't know if they saw like what was happening with the Intellivision and they were like, okay, we do not need to be those people. Like let's.
Maybe the public demonstration that was the Intellivision Amico caused Atari to have a complete 180 with their approach.
Because they seem to be taking a more stable and measured approach to how they're doing things and not promising all these crazy grand ideas and plans like massive hotels in Vegas and stuff like that.
All stuff they've done in the past.
So now they're actually getting in the business of like making games again. And so that's I think that's exciting compared to what was going on with the Amico, which was like making knockoff games with like new old branding and trying to sell it as NFT cartridges and
they had a gambling website at one point that they were working on, and they had a Atari token cryptocurrency,
not to mention the millions of dollars in television the Amico console took from investors. And not a single person has been delivered a working project.
All these Raspberry Pi consoles come out and they don't have $4 million or $17 million or however much they had. They managed to do it. There's really no excuse.
So, Tommy Tallarico, what does that mean for the Amico? Here's what Tommy's Amico CEO, Phil Adam, has to say. We look forward to our expanded collaboration and bringing a broad array of new Atari and Intellivision titles to the Amico and the Amico home family gaming platforms.
It's cute that he thinks it's a collaboration.
So that's right. They still intend to release the Amico, or at least they say they intend to release the Amico.
Yeah, well, I mean...
And apparently part of this agreement includes maybe Atari games coming to the Amico. But
I'd love to see something.
Sure.
I would like to see the Intellivision brand be a thing.
The Amico, remember, the Intellivision Amico is no longer a thing. If they resurrect it, it will be. No, if an Amico comes out, it is just the Amico now. It is no longer the Intellivision Amico. They don't have the ability to call it the Intellivision Amico anymore.
Atari doesn't?
No. What I'm saying is, the people who... Tommy Tallarico...
Yeah.
Atari didn't buy the Amico. Atari only bought the Intellivision brand and the rights to those 200 some odd games.
Right, but if Intellivision owns the Amico...
No, they don't.
They don't?
This wasn't part of the agreement. They let them keep the Amico. Okay. Basically, Atari made a wise decision.
Yeah.
We don't want anything to do with your console.
Okay.
You can keep that. We don't want to buy that.
Okay. I gotcha.
So Tommy Tallarico and his, team can potentially still release the Amico, but it would not be the Intellivision Amico.
It would be on their end.
It'd be the Tallarico Amico, or whatever they want to call it.
Oh, God.
So, I mean, okay, let's say 5 years from now, the Amico releases. How bad do you want one?
Well, I collect consoles.
Right.
And I collect especially obscure and crappy consoles.
So like this has like you written all over it.
Yeah. Like the Funtech Super A-Can was a piece of crap, but it's extremely valuable now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't try to get one.
Yeah. I do wonder like if they just like almost like a legal obligation, they have to ship to the people who backed it, and imagine they're the only people who ever get one.
Yeah, they're probably facing a class action lawsuit or something if they don't.
No, if they don't deliver. That's why I feel like they keep pushing the goalpost back.
Right.
And they're like, it's gonna come out eventually, guys.
Right. They're in way too deep to be able to just be like it's canceled.
Yeah.
They can't. If they do, they better lawyer up real quick.
Yeah.
Because
I don't think they have the money
to
afford a lawyer.
No, they don't. So yeah, Tommy just really created a mess.
Okay, now we've seen all three of these acquisitions. Compared to what we've been talking about differently, I'm going to assume you'd think that these are pretty different than like the normal kinds of big scale acquisitions we've been hearing about in recent years.
Yeah. I mean, the only one I would compare is Nintendo buying Shiver.
Sure, that's similar.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of one company.
I mean, if we think about it, this episode, we had, Games Media buying out Games Media.
Yep.
We had games companies buying out games companies, and we had crowdfunding trolls buying out, I don't know, gaming scams, buying out gaming scams.
Okay. I mean, I think you're being a little harsh to Atari.
I am. I love Atari. I don't hate them, but I just know what they did with the VCS, and I know what they did with things before that. Understand that there are new people there.
Right.
There are always new people at a company.
Right, but I mean, they're taking it in like a more noble direction than like all this scammy kind of stuff they were doing prior.
Yeah, now they are.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't just forget. Like,
right, I'm not saying you should forget, but I mean, like you said, they're just brands at this point. Like, they're not who they were in the 70s.
Holding companies buying out holding companies. That's fair, and I will stick to that.
Atari's a holding company?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're doing in-house development.
They are, yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But I mean, they own the Atari brand. I don't know. They're not Atari. They're not the Atari. They're not.
I mean, what can they do to, like, what do they need to do to like get your respect?
The biggest thing they could do is actually seriously enter the console market. But I get that they want. Okay, you know what they can do? They can actually start putting out new Atari properties and actually do games publishing that's not just ports of old games, all stuck in the past. Like actually start competing with Sega.
Okay. Okay, I mean,
I haven't seen that.
I think that's what they're.
They're probably trying to go. They're probably trying to go in that direction.
And they actually have been doing some original development, but with their existing IPs.
Right.
They've been, like how Nintendo did those like NES remix kinds of games, where they sort of like mash their like.
Yeah, but Atari's always been doing that too. Like there are Atari collections on PS2.
Oh
and PS3.
yeah, but I mean, I think it's important that collections continue to come out into the future.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
But Sega does that too, and they do new games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it takes time to. I mean, yeah, this is clearly a brand acquiring a brand with Atari. You know, like obviously they also got a bunch of IP that they can one day make use of along with it. You know, 200 plus original games.
200 plus, like those are probably old school IPs.
Yeah,
they better. I want to see them do something with that, not just sit on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in much better hands with this Atari.
Than was the last Atari.
Well, or with Tommy Tallarico's Intellivision.
Well, Tommy's Tallarico's Intellivision hasn't done anything.
No.
Like, they have released nothing.
Well, that's... Okay, something you maybe don't know is they actually did release a handful of their games on, like, Switch and Steam that were originally meant for the Amico.
They put it on mobile, too.
Mobile, too, yeah.
You're right. Okay, that's something. That's not nothing.
Yeah. Now, I don't know that, like, they made those titles in-house or whether they were just contract work, you know?
Probably were contract work. They probably owed the developer, honestly.
Yeah, the developer was like, come on, man, I made this game for you guys.
Right.
Like, can we get it out there somewhere so I can show people that I made something?
Yeah, that might have just been... done to avoid, like,
generate some kind of income,
right?
You know, that
might have been preventative.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. And transmission.